Daily reading through the Bible, week 10, day 3. Numbers chapters 15 through 18, Psalm 113, Colossians chapter 3. The scriptures quoted are from the NET Bible, netbible.com, copyright 1996-2019, used with permission from Biblical Studies Press, LLC, all rights reserved. Numbers 15. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites, and tell them, when you enter the land where you are to live, which I am giving you, and you make an offering by fire to the Lord from the herd or from the flock, whether a burnt offering or a sacrifice, for discharging a vow or as a freewill offering, or in your solemn feasts, to create a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The one who presents his offering to the Lord must bring a grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of finely ground flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of olive oil. You must also prepare 1/4 of a hin of wine for a drink offering, for the burnt offering, or the sacrifice for each lamb. Or for a ram, you must prepare as a grain offering 2/10 of an ephah of finely ground flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of olive oil. And for a drink offering, you must offer 1/3 of a hin of wine as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And when you prepare a young bull as a burnt offering, or a sacrifice for discharging a vow, or as a peace offering to the Lord, then a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of finely ground flour mixed with half a hin of olive oil must be presented with the young bull. And you must present as the drink offering half a hin of wine with the fire offering as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. This is what is to be done for each ox, or each ram, or each of the male lambs, or the goats. You must do so for each one, according to the number that you prepare. Every native-born person must do these things in this way, to present an offering made by fire as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. If a resident foreigner is living with you, or whoever is among you in future generations, and prepares an offering made by fire as a pleasing aroma to the Lord, he must do it the same way you are to do it. One statute must apply to you who belong to the congregation and to the resident foreigner who is living among you, as a permanent statute for your future generations. You and the resident foreigner will be alike before the Lord. One law and one custom must apply to you and to the resident foreigner who lives alongside you. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites, and tell them, when you enter the land to which I am bringing you, and you eat some of the food of the land, you must offer up a raised offering to the Lord. You must offer up a cake of the first of your finely ground flour as a raised offering. As you offer the raised offering of the threshing floor, so you must offer it up. You must give to the Lord some of the first of your finely ground flour as a raised offering in your future generations. If you sin unintentionally and do not observe all these commandments that the Lord has spoken to Moses, all that the Lord has commanded you by the authority of Moses, from the day that the Lord commanded Moses, and continuing through your future generations, then if anything is done unintentionally without the knowledge of the community, the whole community must prepare one young bull for a burnt offering, for a pleasing aroma to the Lord, along with its grain offering and its customary drink offering, and one male goat for the purification offering. And the priest is to make atonement for the whole community of the Israelites. And they will be forgiven because it was unintentional, and they have brought their offering, an offering made by fire to the Lord, and their purification offering before the Lord for their unintentional offenses. And the whole community of the Israelites and the resident foreigner who lives among them will be forgiven, since all the people were involved in the unintentional offense. If any person sins unintentionally, then he must bring a yearling female goat for a purification offering, and the priest must make atonement for the person who sins unintentionally, when he sins unintentionally before the Lord, to make atonement for him, and he will be forgiven. You must have one law for the person who sins unintentionally, both for the native born among the Israelites and for the resident foreigner who lives among them. But the person who acts defiantly, whether native born or a resident foreigner, insults the Lord. That person must be cut off from among his people. Because he has despised the Lord's message and has broken his commandment, that person must be completely cut off. His iniquity will be on him. When the Israelites were in the wilderness, they found a man gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses and Aaron and to the whole community. They put him in custody because there was no clear instruction about what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "The man must surely be put to death. The whole community must stone him with stones outside the camp." So the whole community took him outside the camp and stoned him to death, just as the Lord commanded Moses. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites, and tell them to make tassels for themselves on the corners of their garments throughout their generations, and put a blue thread on the tassel of the corners. You must have this tassel so that you may look at it and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and obey them, and so that you do not follow after your own heart and your own eyes that lead you to unfaithfulness. Thus you will remember and obey all my commandments, and be holy to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. Number 16. Now Korah, son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan, and Abiram, the son of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, who were Reubenites, took men and rebelled against Moses, along with some of the Israelites, leaders of the community, chosen from the assembly, famous men. And they assembled against Moses and Aaron, saying to them, "You take too much upon yourselves, seeing that the whole community is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you exalt yourselves above the community of the Lord?" When Moses heard it, he fell down with his face to the ground. Then he said to Korah and to all his company, "In the morning the Lord will make known who are his and who is holy. He will cause that person to approach him. The person he has chosen, he will cause to approach him. Do this, Korah, you and all your company. Take censers, put fire in them, and set incense on them before the Lord tomorrow. And the man whom the Lord chooses will be holy. You take too much upon yourselves, you sons of Levi." Moses said to Korah, "Listen now, you sons of Levi. Does it seem too small a thing to you that the God of Israel has separated you from the community of Israel to bring you near to himself, to perform the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the community to minister to them? Has he brought you near, and all your brothers, the sons of Levi, with you? Do you now seek the priesthood also? Therefore you and all your company have assembled together against the Lord and Aaron. What is he that you murmur against him?" Then Moses summoned Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab. But they said, "We will not come up. Is it a small thing that you have brought us up out of the land that flows with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness? Now do you want to make yourself a prince over us? Moreover, you have not brought us into a land that flows with milk and honey, nor given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Do you think you can blind these men? We will not come up." Moses was very angry, and he said to the Lord, "Have no respect for their offering. I have not taken so much as one donkey from them, nor have I harmed any one of them." Then Moses said to Korah, "You and all your company present yourselves before the Lord, you and they and Aaron, tomorrow. And each of you take his censer, put incense in it, and then each of you present his censer before the Lord. Censers along with you and Aaron, each of you with his censer." So everyone took his censer, put fire in it, and set incense on it, and stood at the entrance of the tent of meeting with Moses and Aaron. When Korah assembled the whole community against them at the entrance of the tent of meeting, then the glory of the Lord appeared to the whole community. The Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, "Separate yourselves from among this community, that I may consume them in an instant." Then they threw themselves down with their faces to the ground, and said, "O God, the God of the spirits of all people, will you be angry with the whole community when only one man sins?" So the Lord spoke to Moses, "Tell the community, get away from around the homes of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram." Then Moses got up and went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel went after him. And he said to the community, "Move away from the tents of these wicked men, and do not touch anything they have, lest you be destroyed because of all their sins." So they got away from the homes of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stationed themselves in the entrances of their tents with their wives, their children, and their toddlers. Then Moses said, "This is how you will know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own will. If these men die a natural death, or if they share the fate of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord does something entirely new, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up along with all that they have, and they go down alive into the grave, then you will know that these men have despised the Lord." When he had finished speaking all these words, the ground that was under them split open, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them along with their households, and all Korah's men, and all their goods. They and all that they had went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed over them. So they perished from among the community. All the Israelites who were around them fled at their cry, for they said, "What if the earth swallows us too?" Then a fire went out from the Lord and devoured the 250 men who offered incense. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Tell Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, to pick up the censers out of the flame, for they are holy, and then scatter the coals of fire at a distance. As for the censers of these men who sinned at the cost of their lives, they must be made into hammered sheets for covering the altar, because they presented them before the Lord and sanctified them. They will become a sign to the Israelites." So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers, presented by those who had been burned up, and they were hammered out as a covering for the altar. It was a memorial for the Israelites that no outsider who is not a descendant of Aaron should approach to burn incense before the Lord, that he might not become like Korah and his company, just as the Lord had spoken by the authority of Moses. But on the next day the whole community of Israelites murmured against Moses and Aaron, saying, "You have killed the Lord's people." When the community assembled against Moses and Aaron, they turned toward the tent of meeting, and the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. Then Moses and Aaron stood before the tent of meeting. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, "Get away from this community, so that I can consume them in an instant." But they threw themselves down with their faces to the ground. Then Moses said to Aaron, "Take the censer, put burning coals from the altar in it, Place incense on it, and go quickly into the assembly and make atonement for them, for the wrath has gone out from the Lord. The plague has begun. So Aaron did as Moses commanded, and ran into the middle of the assembly, where the plague was just beginning among the people. So he placed incense on the coals, and made atonement for the people. He stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stopped. Now 14,700 people died in the plague, in addition to those who died in the event with Korah. Then Aaron returned to Moses at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and the plague was stopped. Numbers 17. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites, and receive from them a staff from each tribe, one from every tribal leader, 12 staffs. You must write each man's name on his staff. You must write Aaron's name on the staff of Levi. For one staff is for the head of every tribe. You must place them in the tent of meeting before the ark of the covenant, where I meet with you. And the staff of the man whom I choose will blossom. So I will rid myself of the complaints of the Israelites, which they murmur against you." So Moses spoke to the Israelites, and each of their leaders gave him a staff, one for each leader, according to their tribes, 12 staffs. The staff of Aaron was among their staffs. Then Moses placed the staffs before the Lord in the tent of the testimony. On the next day, Moses went into the tent of the testimony, and the staff of Aaron for the house of Levi had sprouted, and brought forth buds, and produced blossoms, and yielded almonds. So Moses brought out all the staffs from before the Lord to all the Israelites. They looked at them, and each man took his staff. The Lord said to Moses, "Bring Aaron's staff back before the testimony to be preserved for a sign to the rebels, so that you may bring their murmurings to an end before me, that they will not die." So Moses did as the Lord commanded him. This is what he did. The Israelites said to Moses, "We are bound to die. We perish. We all perish. Anyone who even comes close to the tabernacle of the Lord will die. Are we all to die?" Numbers 18. The Lord said to Aaron, "You and your sons, and your tribe with you, must bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. And you and your sons with you must bear the iniquity of your priesthood. Bring with you your brothers, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of your father, so that they may join with you and minister to you, while you and your sons with you are before the tent of the testimony. They must be responsible to care for you and to care for the entire tabernacle. However, they must not come near the furnishings of the sanctuary and the altar, or both they and you will die. They must join with you, and they will be responsible for the care of the tent of meeting, for all the service of the tent, but no unauthorized person may approach you. You will be responsible for the care of the sanctuary and the care of the altar, so that there will be no more wrath on the Israelites. I myself have chosen your brothers, the Levites, from among the Israelites. They are given to you as a gift from the Lord, to perform the duties of the tent of meeting. But you and your sons with you are responsible for your priestly duties, for everything at the altar and within the curtain, and you must serve. I give you the priesthood as a gift for service, but the unauthorized person who approaches must be put to death." The Lord spoke to Aaron, "See, I have given you the responsibility for my raised offerings. I have given all the holy things of the Israelites to you as your priestly portion, and to your sons as a perpetual ordinance. Of all the most holy offerings reserved from the fire, this will be yours. Every offering of theirs, whether from every grain offering, or from every purification offering, or from every reparation offering which they bring to me, will be most holy for you and for your sons. You are to eat it as a most holy offering. Every male may eat it. It will be holy to you. And this is yours, the raised offering of their gift, along with all the wave offerings of the Israelites. I have given them to you and to your sons and daughters with you as a perpetual ordinance. Every one who is ceremonially clean in your household may eat of it. All the best of the olive oil, and all the best of the wine and of the wheat, the first fruits of these things that they give to the Lord, I have given to you. And whatever first ripe fruit in their land they bring to the Lord will be yours. Every one who is ceremonially clean in your household may eat of it. Everything devoted in Israel will be yours. The firstborn of every womb which they present to the Lord, whether human or animal, will be yours. Nevertheless, the firstborn sons you must redeem, and the firstborn males of unclean animals you must redeem. And those that must be redeemed you are to redeem when they are a month old, according to your estimation, for 5 shekels of silver according to the sanctuary shekel, which is 20 gerahs. But you must not redeem the firstborn of a cow or a sheep or a goat. They are holy. You must splash their blood on the altar and burn their fat for an offering made by fire for a pleasing aroma to the Lord. And their meat will be yours, just as the breast and the right hip of the raised offering is yours. All the raised offerings of the holy things that the Israelites offer to the Lord I have given to you and to your sons and daughters with you as a perpetual ordinance. It is a covenant of salt forever before the Lord for you and for your descendants with you. The Lord spoke to Aaron, "You will have no inheritance in the land, nor will you have any portion of property among them. I am your portion and your inheritance among the Israelites." See, I have given the Levites all the tithes in Israel for an inheritance, for their service that they perform, the service of the tent of meeting. No longer may the Israelites approach the tent of meeting, or else they will bear the sin and die. But the Levites must perform the service of the tent of meeting, and they must bear their iniquity. It will be a perpetual ordinance throughout your generations, that among the Israelites the Levites have no inheritance. But I have given to the Levites for an inheritance the tithes of the Israelites that are offered to the Lord as a raised offering. That is why I said to them that among the Israelites they are to have no inheritance. The Lord spoke to Moses, "You are to speak to the Levites, and you must tell them, when you receive from the Israelites the tithe that I have given you from them as your inheritance, then you are to offer up from it as a raised offering to the Lord 1/10 of the tithe. And your raised offering will be credited to you as though it were grain from the threshing floor, or as new wine from the winepress. Thus you are to offer up a raised offering to the Lord of all your tithes that you receive from the Israelites, and you must give the Lord's raised offering from it to Aaron the priest. From all your gifts you must offer up every raised offering due the Lord, from all the best of it, and the holiest part of it. Therefore you will say to them, when you offer up the best of it, then it will be credited to the Levites as the product of the threshing floor, and as the product of the winepress, and you may eat it in any place, you and your household, because it is your wages for the service in the tent of meeting. And you will bear no sin concerning it when you offer up the best of it. And you must not profane the holy things of the Israelites, or else you will die. Psalms 113. Praise the Lord. Praise, you servants of the Lord. Praise the name of the Lord. May the Lord's name be praised now and forevermore. From east to west, the Lord's name is deserving of praise. The Lord is exalted over all the nations. His splendor reaches beyond the sky. Who can compare to the Lord our God, who sits on a high throne? He bends down to look at the sky and the earth. He raises the poor from the dirt, and lifts up the needy from the garbage pile, that he might seat him with princes. with the princes of his people. He makes the barren woman of the family a happy mother of children. Praise the Lord. Colossians 3. Therefore, if you have been raised with Christ, keep seeking the things above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Keep thinking about things above, not things on the earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you too will be revealed in glory with him. So put to death whatever in your nature belongs to the earth: sexual immorality, impurity, shameful passion, evil desire, and greed, which is idolatry. Because of these things the wrath of God is coming on the sons of disobedience. You also lived your lives in this way at one time, when you used to live among them. But now put off all such things as anger, rage, malice, slander, abusive language from your mouth. Do not lie to one another, since you have put off the old man with its practices, and have been clothed with a new man that is being renewed in knowledge according to the image of the one who created it. Here there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave or free, but Christ is all and in all. Therefore, as the elect of God, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourselves with a heart of mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience, bearing with one another and forgiving one another, if someone happens to have a complaint against anyone else. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also forgive others. And to all these virtues add love, which is the perfect bond. Let the peace of Christ be in control of your heart, for you were in fact called, as one body, to this peace. And be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and exhorting one another with all wisdom, singing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, all with grace in your hearts to God. And whatever you do, in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. The next daily reading through the Bible, week 10, day 4. Numbers, chapters 19 through 21. Colossians, chapter 4. The scriptures quoted are from the NET Bible, netbible.com. Copyright 1996-2019. Used with permission from Biblical Studies Press, LLC. All rights reserved.